Tonight's final including a couple of teams with very strong finishing kicks. For Maryland, it was Melo Trimble last night with 31 points, and he got off early. But it was Des Wells, the senior, who was dominant and indomitable late, as Maryland finished on a 7-0 run to close out Arizona State. In the second game, Iowa State followed George Niang's lead. The Big 12 Player of the Year candidate ended up with 28 points. But it was Matt Thomas off the bench in his first game of the season that found atonement and broke the game open with his three-point shooting. And Dustin Hogue inside, adding a little bit of muscle to his hustle as Iowa State finished off Alabama. The Terps try to weather the Cyclones next. And welcome everyone to the Sprint Center in Kansas City, and welcome to the CBE Hall of Fame Classic as part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. Let's take a look at the brackets in the CBE Classic and how we got to this point. Arizona State overwhelmed by Maryland late in the game last night as Maryland won it by 5. Iowa State defeating Alabama by 10. Thus setting up tonight's final. Hello everybody, I'm Mark Jones courtside along with Len Elbor. Welcome aboard. This is the first ever meeting between these two teams. Now Len, on paper it says it's a neutral site game, but if you check Google Maps, it's a 3.5-hour drive from Ames, Iowa here to Kansas City. A distinct home court advantage here for the Cyclones. In addition to that, hey, they're nationally ranked. What's it mean for Maryland?
Well, first of all, check Google Maps. All you got to do is listen in here. But it's a huge test for the Terps. They're playing the number 14 team in the nation that has national championship capabilities. This untested team is going to have a ways to go.
Both these teams come in undefeated. Iowa State at 3-0, Maryland at 4-0. What are we watching for tonight?
Well, for the Terps, they certainly did a great job on the offensive glass against Arizona State yesterday. 13 offensive rebounds, 16 second chance points. And the young and the restless, the young Melo Trimble point guard coming out party against Arizona State, 31 points. The restless Des Wells broke out of a slump and took over down the stretch. And Iowa State, led by George Niang yesterday, 4 guys in double figures. Points came from everywhere. But they've got to protect the ball better. They normally don't turn it over, but 15 turnovers, 16 points off turnovers for Alabama after Iowa State came into the game and only 9.5 turnovers per game.
A high-scoring Cyclone team as we take a look at the starting lineups. First of all, for Maryland, a change in the starting lineup as John Graham, number 25, gets the start for Rishad Pack. He's joined by Trimble, Wells, Jake Lehman, and DeMonte Dodd in the middle for the Terps. Meanwhile, for the Cyclones in the backcourt, Monte Morris with that fantastic assist-to-turnover ratio. DeJon Jones in the backcourt, Naz Long, Niang, and Dustin Hogue up front for Iowa State. Cyclones come in at 3-0, Maryland at 4-0. Both of these teams with a nice kick to the finish line last night in their respective games. And Fred Hoiberg, the former player at Iowa State, former NBA player, now head coach, recently signed to an extension for the Cyclones. Very successful in his short tenure at that school.
I'll tell you what, Mark, when you watch these teams, let's remember that the battle is going to be in the paint. Iowa State yesterday, 38 of their 84 points came in the paint through layups and penetration. And for Maryland, 42 of their 78 came through layups, post-ups, and unlike Iowa State, putbacks, 16 second chance opportunities.
Nice crowd on hand here as Mark Turgeon looking to get his 4th win of the season, the head coach of the Terps. Last year his team going 17-15, 9-9 in conference play, and we are underway. And there's a great guy at the trigger for the Terps this year, Melo Trimble, number 2, who we talked about in the open.
That's right, 31 points. Was more of a scorer than he was actually a distributor. But he's demonstrated he's got skills to do both, whatever the team needs.
Wells struggling with the ball out top, 14 on the shot clock. Trimble fouled on the play by Monte Morris. Nice point guard battle tonight shaping up with Monte Morris and Melo Trimble. Morris, a great distributor. And Trimble, we mentioned that big game last night. Morris actually last night, Lenny, had 12 assists 0 turnovers in that game against Alabama.
Well, the last 2 games, he's had 21 assists total and 0 turnovers. So not a scorer, but this young man certainly takes care of the ball, although he did score some points in the game before last.
As Wells with the pull-up jumper, rims out. Niang with the strong pull for Iowa State, and they look to run.
And Maryland has to get back. They've got to be able to stop the ball, and then they've got to get up.
Whoa, DeJon Jones with the punch off the follow.
Above the rim. Interestingly enough, only 2 offensive rebounds for Iowa State yesterday and no second chance points right off the bat. In the paint, off the glass, off the offensive glass, Iowa State scored.
DeJon Jones chasing Layman off the screen. Down low, Graham inside, and well, so far a good move for him to get the start, Lynn.
Yeah, John Graham comes by the bloodlines. His father, Ernie Graham, a star from Maryland. Back in the 80s, he was a scorer himself.
Bryce DeJon Jones, the UNLV transfer, going right at Layman, and he's out of the gate real quickly with 4 quick points.
And I talked about the diverse scoring. Iowa State gets it from everyone. They can score outside, they score inside, off the bounce, on the post-up. Maryland's got to be on their defensive game.
Wells cross-court to Layman. Good closeout by DeJon Jones. They double-team Graham on the block. Iowa State caught in rotation, and Wells couldn't make them pay. Layman, though, tips it out to Trimble for another possession. Trimble off the ball screen. Niang with good help.
And Maryland, again, second chance opportunities. We talked about it. 16 points off of 13 offensive rebounds yesterday.
Boy, Wells is fearless, Lenny, driving to the cup. He draws the foul and crashed to the court.
Well, we talked about at the beginning of the telecast, the young and the restless. Des Wells, very restless, hasn't been playing his type of game, was in a bit of a slump, but he took over in the second half against Arizona State yesterday. You know, had a terrific second half, was the go-to guy down the stretch.
Yeah, 12 of his 14 points coming in the second half. But what about Jones here, the offensive end?
Well, right there, nobody covers the glass right there, and Jones just finds a way on the baseline, making a conscious effort to go to the offensive glass. As I mentioned before, against Alabama, only 2 offensive rebounds and no putbacks.
Wells knocks down both, and we're tied at 4, just underway here at the Sprint Center in Kansas City. Mark Jones courtside along with Len Elmore. A couple of teams undefeated, albeit early in the season. DeJon Jones has it tapped away by Layman.
You know, DeJon Jones being played by a guy that's kind of the same kind of player. Long, lengthy, athletic. That's what you can call Jake Layman as well.
Maryland without Evan Smotrich, the senior, out with a foot injury, due back any day now. Niang with a sweet left-handed jump hook. Wow, that's a big-time move.
The best thing John Graham can do is to get better position and deny, because you don't want George Niang to get the ball, because he has so many weapons, so many ways to put the ball in the basket.
Devontae Dodd driving on Niang. Iowa State wanted the offensive foul on the push-off. Good dime by Wells, and Graham finishing inside. Boy, Graham active here early in the game with a start, Len.
Yeah, well, both teams playing a bit physically right now with the bumps. You know, you would think Iowa State's accustomed to that, the rugged Big 12. And Maryland's got to get accustomed to it going into the Big 10.
Yeah, great point. There's the freshman, the sophomore, Monte Morris, knocking down the 3.
I think that was a test right there, backing off Morris to see if he really was going to be offensive-minded. Maryland's got to push up on him.
Mello Trimble out top. Here's Wells.
That's straight man-to-man Iowa State the last several possessions.
Nice drive and dish, and Wells with the assist to Layman for the 3. And we're tied at 9.
Well, so far, no back down. Young Turks against number 14 in the country.
Last time Iowa State played here was back in March when they won the Big 12 championship game against Baylor. This is what they consider Hilton Coliseum South. Niang with the spin move draws the foul from Graham, and will go to the free throw line for a pair.
Good foul by Graham, obviously beaten, forced Niang to earn it.
Des Wells making things happen with the dime to a wide open Layman, just underway here in Kansas City. The 3s are falling.
My name is Marcus Walker. I was All-State, won a state championship, a high school All-American, and played college and pro ball. I played because I love the game. I grind to be the best. I sweat because I put in work. I'm strong because I believe. When I want to bring it before game time, I come to the house that college basketball built, the CBE. No matter your skill, take it to another level. Elevate your game right here at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center.
Oh my gosh. You make me wanna say, oh, 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 oh.
Your heart is precious. One of many ways to support its health is new True Heart from One-A-Day. It's the only heart health supplement with ingredients to both help lower bad cholesterol and support healthy blood pressure, and also includes CoQ10. Try new True Heart.
We begin with a story that could have major ramifications. You want a guy in your club that's got something to prove.
Every voter on that committee is going to be paying close attention.
The most comprehensive college football conversation. Mondays on ESPNU.
Monday Night Football, Dolphins, Jets, 8:15 on ESPN. ESPNU's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the College Basketball Experience. This is not a museum. You may sweat here. And Sprint.
An esteemed list of inductees inducted into the College Basketball Hall of Fame a couple of nights ago. As we take a look at the list, Zomo Beatty, posthumously, Dale Brown, Garf, the five-star legend, Dr. Duncanstein, Grant Hill, Shaq Zilla, Shaq Diesel, Glenn Wilkes, and your old guy from Maryland, Gary Williams. I shouldn't say old guy.
You can say older.
Older. Gary had a chance to visit with us last night here at the table as Niang knocks down the free throw. George Niang, the leading scorer for Iowa State, coming into the ball game at about 22.7 per game.
And you don't really know how good he is until you actually watch him in person. Not the greatest athlete, but he understands how to play the game. You know, he can get you off balance. He uses change of speeds. He's got terrific touch.
Guy that really did the right thing from a nutritional standpoint this past year. He dropped 25 pounds, got his body in great shape. Here's Trimble. Dodd trying to post up against Niang. 13 on the shot clock for Wells.
And see, that's one of the problems Maryland has. You got to make the post players make the opponents pay.
Des Wells with the pull-up, nothing but net.
You know, you can rely on perimeter play, but for so long. You know, you got Dodd, you got Tchaikovsky on defense. They've got to be able to take their maintain their position and carry their weight.
A whistle and a foul inside. That's going to go against Graham.
And that's 2 on Graham, and it looks like he's going to have to take a seat right here. Just a little exchange right there with Des Wells on the perimeter.
Graham will go to the bench, and in comes the big freshman from Slovakia, Michael Tchaikovsky. Had 6 points and 3 rebounds last night against Arizona State, and Niang really has that little jump hook down, doesn't he, Len?
Yeah, change of direction with the crossover, and the extension on that hook makes it tough. You got to really get up in his chest and not allow him to put it on the floor if he's going to turn and face you on the perimeter.
Interesting matchup here with Naz Long against Des Wells. Long, a pretty good defender, played good D against Hunter of Georgia State a couple of games ago. Part of our tip-off marathon. Wells on the drive-by, tough shot off glass. Tchaikovsky ticked it up and in.
And that's what I'm talking about. The bigs from Maryland have to make Iowa State pay. Iowa State not really having a legitimate center in the middle. They play with a bunch of forwards who are mobile and good athletes, but the size of Tchaikovsky gives him an advantage.
Bryce DeJean-Jones is off to a good start offensively in this game. Boy, he is working Lyman on defense. He's got 6 points. Same shot as last time almost went.
Yeah, I would expect Maryland to start running at DeJean-Jones simply because, again, can't allow him to isolate and go one-on-one. Too good of a one-on-one player.
Dodd on the roll to the bucket, got the tip to go.
And that's Maryland's plan. You got both Tchaikovsky and Dodd in the game. Maryland gone big. And that's because they've got a size advantage. Those guys have to make Iowa State pay.
Dustin Hogue from outside, missing. Lehman with the rebound, out of bounds. And DeJon Jones saying that it went off of Lehman's leg. But a couple of subs coming into the ball game for Iowa State.
And if you had any doubt that Cyclone fans, Cyclone Nation is in the house.
Ooh.
And they might have been right about that. It looked like Jake
were.
Lehman lost that. The ball was tipped, but Lehman still had his hand on it.
Lehman on the bench getting a breather. A couple of subs coming into the ball game from Maryland. Rashad Pack in the game. He started last night, coming off the bench tonight. Melo Trimble has been quiet at the offensive end so far. Into the paint, throws up the floater, and good. Ends his silence.
No sooner said than the young man letting the game come to him. Hasn't really rushed or forced anything.
They switched defenders on DeJon Jones, and now it's Wells because Lehman's on the bench.
Des Wells also a good defender, bit stronger than Wells, and that's Dodd right there.
Battling inside. A good bucket by Adozie.
That's Dodd with the shot block, but they've got to do more than just block the shot and admire it. They got to go back and go get it.
Daniel Adozie, Len, gives Iowa State a little bit of size, as you were pointing out a little bit earlier. They didn't seem to have much.
Gives them some size and physical play. They've got to be able to match Dodd and Tchaikovsky. And Melo Trimble sees the screen from Tchaikovsky. You know, takes the bump and still able to penetrate and score. And that's one of the things young players have a hard time adjusting to, physical element of this game. But Trimble not phased at all.
He got off to a great start collegiately in their first exhibition game. He knocked down 4 threes against San Francisco State. Here's Wells, little two-man game with Tchaikovsky.
And he's telling Tchaikovsky he didn't need it.
Tchaikovsky kept it alive, and Naz Long clears for Iowa State. Looking to run and take the lead, down by 1. Bryce DeJon Jones fouled by Wells, and Wells and him got caught up. Looks like their arms got locked up and gave each other a little bit of dap, no problem.
Yeah, I think, again, the anticipation by some of the crowd right here, that was accidental, unintentional. Both guys know it. And in plays like that, you let the two guys on the floor determine what was what.
That's going to be a side out of bounds. It was not on the shot. As Abdul Nader comes into the ball game for Iowa State. Nader, one of those transfers, he from University of Northern Illinois. Here's Long. Long, a deadly three-point shooter, had that one rattle in and out.
We talk about bench matchup, advantage Iowa State. More experience, for sure, and certainly a little more polished.
The Cyclone team won the Big 12 Conference Championship tournament last year, right here on this court. March 14th, back of this year. Here's Wiley out top. Lehman, a quick trigger, and why not? Jake Lehman knocks down the 3, and he's got a couple now.
And if you're Mark Turgeon, you got to be heartened by the way your team has responded. They've done a terrific job here, swarming on defense, not afraid to take shots, and good decisions right there as Pack doesn't force anything, backs it out, and force Iowa State to play some deep.
Dribble out top as Mark Turgeon calls out the set from the sidelines.
Maryland making sure that they maintain control of the tempo. Iowa State terrific at upping the tempo, averaging 84 a game.
Melo Trimble, yeah. A lot of points on the meter. And Melo Trimble with a deep 3 to make it a 7-point lead for Maryland.
Terps have maintained their poise, no question about it. Like I said, no fear in running their stuff. And that comes within the offense. You know, Lehman once again off the bounce now finds the open shooter as he was found earlier. But the key to all of this, Maryland's matching and exceeding expectations, is the fact that they're keeping this crowd out of the ball game.
Been relatively silent here at Sprint Center and a pro Cyclone crowd. Saturday on ESPNU, Big Ten newcomers look to bolster their bowl game resumes. Randy Edsall's tempered Terps take on the Scarlet Knights. Then Blue Devils look for a victory to make program history with consecutive 9-win seasons. They face the Demon Deacons. Rutgers, Maryland at 3:30, then Wake Forest Duke Saturday on ESPNU.
And I'd expect Maryland to be able to throw some pressure against Iowa State. Iowa State 15 turnovers yesterday against an Alabama team. It didn't faze them, but that's not their normal game. They don't turn the ball over that much.
Naz Long back on Wells. Here's Wiley in the ball game for the Terps.
And Wiley, another one of the freshman players on Maryland's team, that's demonstrated sense of poise. Not a good shot right there by Pack.
Yeah, Pack struggled last night and missing his first shot here. Monte Morris with the drive and kick. Nader missing the three, but rebounded by Morris. And they'll get another opportunity. Thomas is coming to the ball game for Iowa State. Matt Thomas had 13 points last night against Alabama in his first game of the year, and he is still picking up where he left off last night. He served a 2-game suspension for violation of team rules and making an immediate impact here.
And you wonder if it was in the scouting report. That young man can light it up. Maryland's got to be able to close on him.
Off the screen, it's Wiley. Layman on the drive. Hit the side of the backboard, and they've got numbers coming back the other way. Thomas to Long. Long got it up and in.
And see, it's the long shots and ill-advised shots that lead to Iowa State's fast break. If you're Maryland, you got to get back to control and tempo.
And for the first time tonight, you can really hear the crowd here at the Sprint Center.
Yeah, Maryland gave them an opening to get back into this ball game. And the effect, not only the emotional effect to Iowa State, but it may influence others as well. Take a look. Thomas, just on the quick exchange, knocks it down. And then inside, Long with the short-range shot.
At American Century Investments, we believe the ultimate measure of our performance is our clients' success. And it's guided our approach to investing for more than 50 years. American Century Investments, global asset management for institutions and individuals.
Gunderman Group.
Gunderman Group is growing.
Getting in a groove.
Growth is gratifying.
Goal is to grow.
Gotta get greater growth.
I just talked to UPS. They've got expert advice, special discounts, new technologies, like smart pickups. They'll only show up when you print a label, and it's automatic. We save time and money.
Time? Money?
Time and money.
Awesome.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
I love logistics.
Heartburn.
Did someone say burn? Try Alka-Seltzer Relief Chews. They work just as fast and are proven to taste better than Tums Smoothies assorted fruit.
Amazing.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Alka-Seltzer Heartburn Relief Chews. Enjoy the relief.
If you've ever wondered how you're going to survive another harsh winter, or stay dry from torrential rain showers, or savor the last warm rays of sun, step inside the Jeep Grand Cherokee and wonder no more. This is the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. Well-qualified lessees can lease the 2015 Grand Cherokee Laredo for $369 a month.
Welcome back, everyone, to Kansas City. Maryland leading by 2. Iowa State feels real comfortable in this building. Here's why. Last year, 2014, actually back in March, after a 14-year wait, a second Big 12 Conference championship for Iowa State after a 0-for-13 start. They scorched Baylor by making 24 of their final 35 shots. 5 players in double figs as the mayor, Fred Hoiberg, raises the conference tournament championship trophy. And Fred Hoiberg, former player at Iowa State, former player in the NBA with a couple of different teams, had his career unfortunately cut short because of a heart ailment, but now in great health. Actually had his pacemaker redone, in effect, this past July, and feeling well.
But he's got a system that's fun to watch. You know, guys really focused on handling the ball well as shooting the ball well, sharing the ball. Good ball movement, but excellent offensive weapons among the guys out there on the floor. He's got 7 guys that can fill it up if necessary.
Feels he might have his most athletic and most talented team since he's been at Ames.
Now, we talk about Maryland. Maryland doesn't have a turnover yet, but those quick shots are the equivalent of turnovers, as it gives Iowa State an opportunity to push the ball up the floor.
That's going to be a foul against DeMonte Dodd underneath.
You know, you want to control tempo if you're Maryland against Iowa State. You don't want to have, you know, those live ball, open floor turnovers that give them opportunities to fast break, to give opportunities to get your defense back on their heels, and then they can move the ball and find the open man.
Iowa State last year started off their season 14-0. Here's Morris out top. Monte Morris, who last year set a NCAA record for assist-to-turnover ratio, almost 5-1. Thomas came up short. DeJon Jones kept it alive, and Morris ran it down.
Good athleticism right there. Good awareness.
Hogue inside. And Hogue seemed to be bothered a little bit, Len. You tell me, by the length of Tchaikovsky.
Oh, there's no question about it. And that's what Maryland is hopeful they can do.
No foul on Trimble, and he steps back and misses. Dodd active underneath, and that's the way he gets his buckets.
And the size is bothering Iowa State, not only of Tchaikovsky, but certainly of Dodd.
Maryland leading by 4.
Both of those guys on the defensive end have changed shots, have thwarted some shots, and on the offensive end, you know, they're starting to keep balls alive.
Well, it looks like a little bit of sumo wrestling down low on the block between Tchaikovsky and Hogue. A whistle and a foul on the play on Tchaikovsky.
But that's what happens when you're fighting for position. You know, the Maryland length, we talked about it bothering Iowa State right there. Great example. And then on the other end, hitting the offensive glass. DeMonte Dodd, Maryland up 4.
How does the Dyson Ball vacuum at only $449 have better overall performance across all floors than any other vacuum?
This is an example of how we test machines. It proves ours has stronger suction than this vacuum. In fact, it has the strongest suction of any vacuum.
Our ball technology turns on the spot, and with its wider cleaner head, you can cover the room faster.
Order today and you'll receive a free flat-out tool and free durable tool bag, even free shipping to your door at buydyson.com.
I've been looking
for fans of fadeaways and not fading away. This is your game. Knicks, Mavs, tomorrow at 7:30 on ESPN, presented by State Farm.
LifeProof cases for iPhone and Galaxy. Get 25% off select cases at lifeproof.com.
Back pain? Get the same kind of therapy without an appointment. Smart Relief from Icy Hot.
Press a button and relaxing pulses quickly block even chronic pain. It's wireless and easy to use.
Smart Relief from Icy Hot. No appointment necessary.
The holidays are filled with love, and Helzberg Diamonds celebrates the spirit of the season. Our diamond ring is the perfect way to express your love. Helzberg Diamonds. I am loved.
Back at the Sprint Center for the CBE Hall of Fame Classic. Part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's here on ESPN. A great week of college basketball. Taking it all across the country, all the way out to Hawaii. Niang off the mark from downtown and rebounded all Maryland around the defensive glass. 7.5 minutes to go. The Terps with a 4-point lead.
And Niang about a 36% shooter from beyond the arc, but he's gotten a couple wide open looks and hasn't been able to really bury him. Not to the pace and extent that he did yesterday.
As well as tough pass knocked out of bounds by Thomas. This Maryland team fitting a bunch of new pieces together. They had 5 Maryland players transfer out of the program last year, and a really top-rated group of recruits come in, which included Melo Trimble. And so far, the early returns say the chemistry's pretty good on this team, Len.
Yeah, I mean, these young guys mixed with some of the veterans. You know, got good leaders on this team.
Wells missing the pull-up.
And Mark Turgeon will tell you that the young guys and the new guys are all very coachable.
DeJon Jones with his first miss of the game, now 3 of 4.
And once again, DeMonte Dodd remaining the obstacle and rim protector.
It's one and done at the offensive end for Iowa State. Tough step back by Pack. And a foul on the ground. That's going to go against Iowa State. There's a look at the transfers that Maryland has. Graham, Pack, Smotrich is out. He came from Michigan. And Des Wells several years ago from Xavier, where he was the conference freshman of the year. That foul, meanwhile, is against Niang. And that's his second.
And he's going to have to sit and take some time. And, you know, that's something that's going to slow down this Iowa State defense as long as Maryland maintains control of the tempo. Quick shots like that give Iowa State an opportunity to run out.
Boy, Pack is really struggling as immediately Turgeon calls for Nickens off the bench to take him out of the game. Bryce DeJon Jones is a man amongst boys right now. When he takes it to the bucket, Len, it makes it look easy.
Yeah, I mean, he handles so well. He's got that length, and he's crafty and getting to the point where he can get the high percentage shots.
Naz Long getting set to check back in for Iowa State.
Crowd trying to get into the ball game, exhorting some defense right now as Iowa State down 2. This is important times. This is where you got to exercise judgment, time and score, recognizing the closeness of the game, and get good opportunity.
Great look by the freshman Sikorsky inside to Lehman for the slam.
You exercise enough patience in the half court, you can find some open opportunities.
DeJon Jones might have forced that one a little bit. Iowa State on the offensive glass. Edozie fouled on the putback attempt.
Well, you take a look, high-low. Sikorsky with the ball out front. And Iowa State rushes to cover him and leaves Lehman open right there on the block.
Meanwhile, Daniel Edozie out of Compton, California, the 6'8" senior at the free throw line. Edozie and Dorsey Walker got a lot of minutes a couple of games ago when Matt Thomas and Abdul Nader were ineligible, serving out that team suspension. So Iowa State even deeper than they were a couple of games ago now.
But they are struggling to match the size up front for Maryland, as we've seen at various times. Tchaikovsky and Dodd have had some impact on this game.
About 5.5 minutes to go in the first half, and the crowd here at the Sprint Center, a pro Cyclone crowd, coming alive. Nickens from deep knocks it down. Jared Nickens, who just checked into the game for Rashad Pack.
Another freshman from Maryland, again showing some poise.
Naz Long missing the layup. That's a man-sized rebound by Edozie.
Edozie being guarded by Jake Lehman, and he's just out physicaling Lehman. He's pushing him around. Lehman's going to have to get a lot tougher.
Here's Trimble out top. Maryland with a 3-point lead, under 5 minutes to go in the first half. Mark Jones courtside along with Len Elmore here in the final. The CBE Hall of Fame Classic.
You notice good solid man-to-man by Iowa State. No switching, no matching up. They're getting through screens, staying with their men.
Lehman was online but strong. And a chance to pull to within 1 or tie with a 3 for the Cyclones. Monte Morris probing, and Trimble knocked it out of bounds. Nice matchup at the point guard spot. But it's physical down low.
Yeah, it is, and you've got to be able to hold your position right there. Lehman not even paying attention as Edozie gets in front of him and just muscled. That weak side corner of the glass, if you're an offensive rebounder, that's the real estate you want to command. And you got to get there, you got to get the first bump in, and then you got to be ready to corral a rebound.
DeJon Jones floating high and draws the foul, exploding to the bucket.
And interestingly enough, he probably could have made it a little bit easier because Dustin Hogue broke to the opposite side, wide open. You look at Hogue on the left part of your screen, wide open for a layup. But Hogue just chose to go to the basket himself.
Tell you what,
I'm sorry, DeJon Jones chose to go to the basket himself.
Jones at the free throw line. 90% free throw shooter. And this Wednesday, catch the excitement of the EA Sports Valley Invitational Championship on ESPN at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. It's all part of the Journey to the Tourney, presented by Sonic. As Arizona beat Kansas State 72-68. Pittsburgh taking on San Diego State. San Diego State, you stayed up for that San Diego State BYU game? You're good, man.
It was compelling, man. It was excellent basketball. You know, BYU had their opportunities, though. But San Diego State just willed themselves with some fortunate bounces of the ball and the threes. Good basketball by both teams.
I caught the first overtime. Wells got stripped by Nas Long.
That's too much handled by Wells. You got to move the ball against this Iowa State defense.
Long thought about pulling a trigger. He's a deadly three-point shooter. Down low to Dustin Hogue. He can make that shot. Way strong this time, and that's going to be a foul against Iowa State and Daniel Edozie.
And what did I tell you about Jake Layman? This time he got the message, man. He put every bit of muscle he had into Edozie and drew the foul.
Timeout on the floor. Tight ball game here at the Sprint Center in Kansas City. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Huskers. No. Huskers with a Z? No. Ooh, Husk guy. Taken. How about with that heart? Heart curve. No. Brasky guy, Brasky pants, Brasky man. Bet nobody's. Nope. Somebody's got that. You know what? I need to go write some more, and I'll be back. Oh, wait. Excuse me. How about Nebraska? Sorry, dude. Nebraska.
Monday Night Football, Dolphins, Jets, 8:15 on ESPN.
Oh my gosh. You make me wanna say. You make me wanna say. Oh, 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 oh.
Your heart is precious. One of many ways to support its health is new True Heart from One A Day. It's the only heart health supplement with ingredients to both help lower bad cholesterol and support healthy blood pressure, and also includes CoQ10. Try new True Heart.
ESPNU's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving.
Maryland up 1 on Iowa State, ranked number 13 in the country. And Lenny, interesting defensive sequence here by Layman.
Yeah, I talked about that weak side glass right here, more valuable than a Manhattan condo. And you take a look at these two guys battling. Unlike the last time, Layman puts all his muscle in, fights Edozie, and gets rewarded for it.
You trying to tell me it's tough to pay the mortgage note on that part of the court? Huh?
Well, you got to battle for it. You got to earn it.
Dorman not included. Layman, great athlete, and a great crowd here on hand at the Sprint Center. Remember, it's only 3.5 hours from Kansas City to Ames, Iowa. So this is very much a home game for Iowa State, although on paper it says it's neutral court. Maryland swinging the ball around nicely. A wide open three by Nickens, missing this time. Tipped out of bounds by Nas Long. It'll be Maryland basketball.
And again, good ball movement by Maryland, getting a good perimeter shot. Don't necessarily have the size in the game that they had earlier with Tchaikovsky and Dodd, so they're not looking for the post-ups.
John Jones ran out and closed out a little bit too overzealously and gave up the runner.
And Nickens, again, 6'7" freshman, good-looking freshman, under control.
Boy, between Nickens and Tchaikovsky and
it's a young
Trimble.
team. It's a young team, but they're playing with some poise. You also have Wiley, a bunch of freshmen out there getting the job done against a veteran team in Iowa State.
They haven't looked like freshmen in this tournament. DeJon Jones, high arcing jumper, no good. One and done at the offensive end. And a traveling violation against Layman. It'll be Cyclone basketball underneath.
Yeah, you can't. It's a travel. You can't hit the ground. You get possession of the ball right here. Even though he tripped over Adozie's leg, once you hit that ground with that possession, it's an automatic travel. I know he's pleading his case, and that's the rule.
Nice dime inside, and Adozie draws the foul as Lehman careens hard to the court and shaken up a little bit. Tell you what, you got to be in the weight room to live down there.
And Adozie, you talk about being able to dish it out as well as take it. You take a look at Lehman right there. He's going to foul automatically. And he's going to try and foul hard, but he gets the worst of it. But I tell you what, he's bringing it right now. He's letting Adozie know that he's not going to get pushed around.
Lenny, you talked about how that's a valuable piece of real estate there. It's a rough neighborhood down there sometimes too, buddy.
Yeah, it's just, you know, Adozie big and strong and capable underneath. Lehman really has to do what he can to hold his own.
Second foul on Lehman. He'll take a seat.
And that's Maryland's issue right now. They're in foul trouble. Got some significant guys with 2 fouls, and they've got to be able to weather the storm right now. Iowa State also has Niang with 2 fouls, so he's on the bench. But Maryland's got Dodd, Graham, and Lehman, the 3 starters in the front line.
Smaller look.
Trouble, yeah.
Smaller look for Maryland in this ball game right now.
Yeah, well, you got Jonathan Graham playing kind of the center position, and he's really small forward.
Des Wells knocks down the 3.
And this is where Des Wells has to take over. We saw what he could do down the stretch in the second half against Arizona State. This team needs him right now to be that offensive threat.
And Monte Morris travels with it. And that is his first turnover, I want to say, in almost 2 games, 3 games.
And look at Melo Trimble right there. Draws the defenders. The extra pass catches Iowa State in rotation. And that's just smart basketball. And we talk about, again, the freshmen. The freshmen are growing up for the Terps.
Here's Wells. Great matchup against DeJon Jones.
But this has got to be Des Wells' team right now. He's going to run the point. He's going to be the go-to guy trying to carry this last minute and 40 seconds.
An ambitious drive to the bucket, no good. And here comes Naz Long, a chance to cut it to 2 or 1.
Wells with the rebound.
Up and down they go. Nickens now 1 for 3 from distance.
What I tell you about the quick shot, that quick shot is the first pass on a fast break, although Iowa State misfires.
That pass was a little bit hot, and Wells gets an easy one at the other end in transition.
Terps taking full advantage now. George Niang on the bench. Iowa State's offense not firing as accurately as they could.
Niang has sit a good portion here late in the second half.
Right now you need execution by the Cyclones on the floor. That's a guy to go to.
Bryce DeJon Jones, the UNLV transfer. 13 points in the game, leading the way for the Cyclones, and it's a 3-point game. There's about a 8-second difference between the shot clock and game clock.
Fans on their feet, hoping for a stop and a conversion on the other end.
Who do you go to here if you're Marylander? Lenny, what are you looking to run?
You're going to take some time off, go with about 12, but Des Wells has got to come and get this ball. 2-man game, Trimble and Wells. Little penetration, maybe kick.
3 on the shot clock. He's got to get busy. A tough contested 3. Not even close. They never really seem to get into their set. And a little indecision by the freshman that time.
Yeah.
With 8.8 to go now.
And that's, unfortunately, that's what you have to live with if you're Mark Turgeon. Some indecision and also some poor judgment by a first-year player, but he was calling for a foul.
Turgeon wanted a little ball pressure up court on Iowa State here. There's 6 seconds to go. Monte Morris up court. DeJon Jones was calling for it. Morris couldn't turn the corner and shoots an air ball to end the first half. Not sure why they didn't go to Jones, but 20 minutes of play in the books here at Kansas City. And Maryland leads it 37-34 at Hilton Coliseum South, a.k.a. the Sprint Center in Kansas City, Missouri. When we come back, Brendan Fitzgerald and Dino talk Orlando Classic Tournament bracket. Number 11, Kansas versus Rhode Island, and Ryder versus number 20, Michigan.
Gunderman Group.
Gunderman Group is growing.
Getting in a groove.
Growth is gratifying.
Goal is to grow.
Gotta get greater growth.
I just talked to UPS. They've got expert advice, special discounts, new technologies, like smart pickups. They'll only show up when you print a label, and it's automatic. We save time and money.
Time? Money?
Time and money.
Awesome.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
I love logistics.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Your heart is precious. One of many ways to support its health is new True Heart from One A Day. It's the only heart health supplement with ingredients to both help lower bad cholesterol and support healthy blood pressure, and also includes CoQ10. Try new True Heart.
From residential to commercial, from large loss to emergency response. Whenever damage strikes, call on the cleanup team that's faster to any size disaster at 1-800-SERVE-PRO, like it never even happened.
I am a cyclist. Soy un ciclista.
I am a cyclist.
Victoria. I train for it. I sacrifice for it. While they play, I train.
I conquer roads others can't.
You're driven to be the best, so you should train on the best. The 2014 Proform TDF, the official training bike of the Tour de France. It's the ultimate cyclist's training experience. With iFit and Google Maps, you'll ride the Tour. Choose any stage of the Tour or nearly every road on Earth and dig in. You'll see, feel, and ride the Tour. Climb like never before. Courchevel, Galibier, even Alpe d'Huez. Only the TDF gives you a 20% incline and decline. See it all right in front of you on our 7-inch color touchscreen. And train with power with our advanced power meter. With a TDF, you can ride almost every road on the planet. You can get the TDF with 0 down. Get yours today. Train better tomorrow.
I am a cyclist, and this is where I train.
Welcome in to halftime. Brendan Fitzgerald along with Dino Gaudio. And who says Thanksgiving is only for football? Certainly not this guy right here. You'll be watching the round ball all day.
You better believe I'll be watching the round ball.
Down in Orlando, they will tip it off, the Orlando Classic, as we take a look at some of the teams that will be playing. Santa Clara and Tennessee start us off. All these first-round games on ESPN2. And a couple of teams of note, Kansas, of course, the top 15 team. They've fallen recently out of the top 10, and Michigan State, number 20. Coach, we'll start with the Spartans. Tom Izzo seems to year in, year out have his team playing the best basketball in March. But right now, they have lost a lot, and they have work to do.
They really do have work to do, and here's why, Brendan. Keith Appling, Gary Harris, and Adrian Payne, really good offensive players. So this has to be a defensive team first and foremost. Now, that wasn't the case when they played Duke, because Duke shoots in the Champions Classic 54% from the field, 7 for 14 from behind the three-point line. So that's the first thing. The second thing, they need to establish an inside game, and it has to be 6'9" Costello on the interior. Against Duke, only 6 points, 4 rebounds. And if I can quote Coach Izzo, when talking about Brandon Dawson, he says, Dawson has to become the star that he is. And if he does, then Michigan State can keep surging forward.
Meanwhile, Kansas, a team that's kind of on the downswing after what humbled in that Champions Classic against Kentucky. A lot of freshmen that they'll be relying on. Kelly Oubre, Cliff Alexander. What do you notice from the Jayhawks?
Well, those young guys aren't as impactful as the guys were last year, as we know. When you lose the number 1 pick in the draft and the number 3 pick in the draft, those are big losses, and they're going to be tremendously felt, and that's the case. The 2 guys you mentioned, Alexander and Oubre, neither of them averaging over 15 points a game, and neither of them are averaging double figures. They're not as impactful as those 2 guys were last year.
Certainly not so far. The Jayhawks have fallen out of the top 10. They will be tested in the early going as we take a look at some notable December games. Number 18, Florida, on the road against Georgetown, and then against Utah, Coach. Good to test young guys, though, at this time.
It really is. You got to find out who your team really is before you go into league play. Now, Florida, They're injured right now. They're limping. They only have 6 scholarship guys. Eli Carter's hurt. Dorian Finney-Smith, broken hand. Georgetown really good on the inside, of course. And then, of course, you're looking at Utah, and I love this team. All 5 starters come back from a team that won 21 games last year, an experienced backcourt led by DeLon Wright. This is going to be a tough challenge for Kansas, but I like what Bill Self does. Let's get these guys ready for Big 12 play.
And the Big 12, one of the best and deepest conferences, and certainly Texas will be coming up. Try to snap that impressive streak of the Jayhawks. They've won that conference a bunch of years. Also in the Orlando Classic, Georgia Tech, they will be taking on Marquette on Thanksgiving night. With more on the Yellow Jackets, Seth Greenberg and Brian Gregory.
BG, you're one of the more creative offensive coaches in all of college basketball, and a big thing about your offense, you put your guys in position to play to their strengths. Now, this corner play, you've got a very good scorer in Michael Georges-Hunt. Let's see how you try to get him the basketball in a number of different places.
Well, I think that's the key for us is run a set play but have multiple options, especially for your best scorers. In our corner, Marcus has received the entry pass, and then on this reversal, we're going to give him the first option to score right here in the post. As we reverse the ball with just a stagger to get the ball up to the 2. Now, that's a scoring option as well, but we're going to bring Marcus back off a second stagger. So our best scorer, Marcus Georges-Hunt, has an option to score in the post. He's a big guard, physical guard, but then also to come off another stagger screen.
Let's take a look at this video and see it in live action here. Now, on the ball reversal, Georges-Hunt's looking to get a post up. You've got the stagger on the backside. So basically what you've done is you've occupied all 4 defenders away from the ball?
Exactly right. And then that way, as the screen comes, we could throw that ball into Marcus in the post. We also, last year, Trey Golden coming off the first stagger. If they make a mistake, that's a shot opportunity. This year, that will be Todrick Jackson and Chris Bolden coming off it, both high-caliber shooters.
Now, when you reverse the basketball and you're bringing Marcus Georges off this stagger screen right here, that first screener, after he sets a screen, does he have to present himself?
He does. We want him to set that screen below right at the rim level to give Marcus an opportunity. Marcus did a great job. The better the post up, the better and more open he's going to be coming off the stagger. He comes off the first one extremely well, does a great job of coming off the second one, target hand ready, stepping in and running into his shot for a great opportunity for him to score right there.
And if this defender overextends, you've got an opportunity to make that pocket pass to Daniel Miller slip into the rim.
That's why it's so important that the first screen occurs underneath the basket to allow Daniel Miller an opportunity for that slip or that pocket pass if number 50 here overextends on Marcus.
And Marcus does a great job right here getting behind the ball on the catch, turning in, knocking down that jumper. Brian Gregory, one of the more creative offensive coaches in college basketball, putting his best player in position to put pressure on the defense.
Week of college basketball continues on Thanksgiving Eve. This is on ESPNU tomorrow as Feast Week continues. 2:30, it's the Maui Invitational, the EA Sports Maui Invitational. Then at 5, Furman, tall task. They'll go to Cameron Indoor Stadium and take on the number 4 Blue Devils. And then at 7 o'clock, the NIT season tip-off, St. John's taking on the Golden Gophers of Minnesota. Second half coming up.
They say back in the day, professional athletes didn't play for the money, nor did they play for fame. They played for the love of the game. I'm here to say, some things haven't changed.
Heartburn.
Did someone say burn? Try Alka-Seltzer Relief Chews. They work just as fast and are proven to taste better than Tums Smoothies assorted fruit.
Amazing.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Alka-Seltzer Heartburn Relief Chews. Enjoy the relief.
The way we see it, after a heavy snowfall, you have 2 options. You can stay inside or get behind the wheel of the Jeep Grand Cherokee with an available best-in-class 4x4 traction management system to maximize control, giving you confidence in all weather conditions. This is the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. Well-qualified lessees can lease the 2015 Grand Cherokee Laredo for $369 a month.
Used to be big cuts required big saws. Not anymore. Meet the Rockwell Compact Circular Saw. So compact, you can use it anywhere. So powerful, it delivers all the bite of the big boys, but weighs half as much for better comfort and control. Perfect for tight spots, even a backboard for mess-free projects. The new Rockwell Compact Circular Saw. It's the smallest big saw you'll ever use. Get yours today.
For centuries, man has sought to combine incredible things. Cavemen combined fire with dead animals. Romans mixed togas with parties. Now DraftKings.com combines one-day fantasy sports with $10 million. DraftKings.com. Bigger events, bigger winnings, bigger millionaires.
Use promo code CHAMP to play and get free entry in the $10 million Fantasy Football World Championships. Get to DraftKings.com now.
I've been looking for freedom.
For fans of fadeaways and not fading away. Knicks, Mavs, tomorrow at 7:30 on ESPN. You're watching ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's.
And welcome back, everyone, to the CBE Hall of Fame Classic, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. Here from the Sprint Center in Kansas City, Missouri. A very spirited first half by number 13 Iowa State and Maryland, who leads by 3. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Jones, courtside along with Len Elmore. Hey, at the end of April, there were several high-profile names that left the Maryland Terrapin program, but they brought in a top recruiting class, top 10 recruiting class, Lenny, and the young guys really doing their thing in the first half. It was a big part of it.
Yeah, well, the freshmen particularly have been responsible for Maryland being competitive and actually having a three-point lead. First, it's Nickens out there who's done a tremendous job of finding open spots. Jared Nickens getting open. And then you have Michael Tchaikovsky, who did a nice job of protecting the rim as well as following up on shots. And, of course, as expected, Melo Trimble off the penetration by Layman, knocking down a big shot. We said it was a test for the Terps against a number 14 team that has national champion capabilities, and the freshmen have held them. You take a look at what to watch for: crashing the glass, the young and the restless, Iowa State's offensive diversity and better ball protection. Well, the flip of the page tells you Maryland getting points from the offensive glass. Obviously, Melo Trimble, the young, Deswell's the restless, contributing. And on the Iowa State side, even though George Niang got in foul trouble, they have other guys who can put the ball in the basket. Didn't turn it over much, just 3 turnovers and 5 points allowed, so they limited that.
It was the mercurial Bryce DeJean Jones doing a lot of the heavy lifting offensively for Iowa State in the first half. When we come back, 20 minutes left to play in the CBE Hall of Fame Classic Championship game. Niang will have something to say before it's all said and done.
Better watch out, you better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake.
Make your dreams come true this season with the Infinity Limited Engagement Winter Event. Right now, lease an Infinity Q50 for $329 a month. Visit your local Infinity retailer.
It's easy to create my beautiful website with Wix.
Cut. Let's go again.
If only everything in business was as easy as Wix. Go to Wix.com and create your stunning website today. It's free.
We will never be slaves, but we will be conquerors.
World of Warcraft, Warlords of Draenor. Boost to level 90 instantly. Available now. Rated T for teen.
We begin with a story that could have major ramifications. You want a guy in your club that's got something to prove.
Every voter on that committee is going to be paying close attention.
The most comprehensive college football conversation. Mondays on ESPN.
This Black Friday at Sports Authority, doorbusters start at 6 p.m. on Thursday. Buy any pair of shoes, get a second pair half off. Plus, spend $100 on a Fitbit and get a $25 Sports Authority cash card free. Hurry in while supplies last. Sports Authority, all things sporting good.
Congratulations, you're down with Crestor.
Yes! When diet and exercise aren't enough, adding Crestor lowers bad cholesterol up to 55%. Crestor is not for people with liver disease or women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Tell your doctor all medicines you take. Call your doctor if you have muscle pain or weakness, feel unusually tired, have loss of appetite, upper belly pain, dark urine, or yellowing of skin or eyes. These could be signs of serious side effects.
I'm down with Crestor.
Make your move. Ask your doctor about Crestor.
This Black Friday at Sports Authority, doorbusters start at 6 p.m. on Thursday. Buy one ball, get a second ball free. Plus, spend $125 on the North Face or Columbia and get a $25 Sports Authority cash card free. Hurry in while supplies last. Sports Authority, all things sporting good.
And welcome back, everyone, to Kansas City, Missouri. Iowa State trailing by 3 as we get set for the start of the second half. Dustin Hogue to inbound. They'll have possession to start this off as here we are, the second week of the college basketball season, Lenny, or maybe the third, whichever you want to call it, beginning in earnest. And these early season games, when you look forward to March, kind of sneak up on you in their importance. And this would be a big win for Maryland against a ranked opponent, albeit it's early in the season. Still a long, long way to go.
Yeah, a young team like the Terps playing against a veteran team like Iowa State, and you know, if they can hold their own, obviously that bodes well for them, particularly going into a tough Big Ten schedule.
Ball knocked out of bounds. It'll be Iowa State basketball.
Actually, they called a foul. They called a blocking foul.
It's against Dodd, his third.
Well, that's a tough call because Dodd as well as Chekhov have really done a terrific job. It takes away Mark Turgeon's ability to go big, which was an effective lineup for Maryland in the first half.
Here's Hogue, stares down the freshman and missing the jump shot.
When you look at the numbers, both of these teams playing pretty evenly, same amount of field goal attempts, although right then, you know, Iowa State has one more, but, you know, second chance points, Iowa State just +1 points in the paint, Maryland +2.
Lehman raising up and missing the jump shot.
The difference really is from the three-point line. Maryland 5 of 12, Iowa State 3 of 11. And that's pretty much the difference in this ballgame.
Well, Dustin Hogue, who is a key contributor for this Iowa State team, has not scored in the game. 0 for 4 from the field. Here's Niang. Tough shot over length, but missing.
And again, Tchaikovsky, a terrific job of going to the penetration and becoming an obstacle. That 7-1 frame, all of it, is really giving Iowa State some problems.
Here's Graham. Kicks it out to Des Wells. Hops through the lane, out of bounds, off his knee, and it'll be Cyclone basketball.
Des Wells just get a little bit under control. Not a bad play, but on the drive, it gets knocked away. I'm not so sure that went off his thigh. It looked like a poke away by Deshaun Jones, but nevertheless, Iowa State's ball.
Here's Naz Long. Back to Morris. Tough shot, Morris rejected. And here come the Terps. Des Wells had the big second half in the last game. Missing here. Tchaikovsky keeps it alive and back out to Graham. Trimble with a quick three. Knocked out of bounds. It'll be Maryland basketball.
Big fella Michael Tchaikovsky growing up right now. Utilizing his length, playing tough, keeping the ball alive.
That shot rims out by Lehman to get another offensive board, Lehman.
Again, the length of Tchaikovsky really paying dividends for Maryland at this point.
Here he is on the dribble handoff to Des Wells.
Can't give the Terps too many opportunities. Just like any good team, you give them too many opportunities, they will burn you.
The big fella can face up and knock down the jump shot. He's got 4 points in the game.
Only fitting that he made that shot since he was the one that saved that possession several times.
Bryce DeJean Jones, well defended by Wells.
Yeah, the key is not allowing Iowa State to turn the corner off the bounce.
Niang for three. Rims out, and it's one and done at that end.
And Niang not nearly as accurate as he was yesterday. Part of it's because he's had to play defense. He's had to contend with John Graham getting in foul trouble.
How good does that decision by Mark Turgeon look now, starting Graham in place of Pack tonight?
I think it looks pretty good. I mean, you got a guy who's big, strong, offensive-minded, matches up much better with Yang as opposed to Pack, who's a lot smaller and not as broad.
5 on the shot clock. Wells going to work with the step back over DeJon Jones and misses everything. Well defended by Bryce DeJon Jones.
That's one of the problems with Des Wells' game. He has a tendency sometimes to fall into these lapses, and it takes a while for him to come out of it. His team needs him right now, as he is the most capable offensive player they have, at least on paper.
Well, what does Iowa State do? They're 0 for 6 from the field, make it 0 for 7 now in the second half, and a quick leak out by Lehman, and an easy slam. Man, he's got some bounce.
Well, here's the problem with Iowa State. They don't have a post-up game per se that they can exploit. No advantage inside, forced to take perimeter shots. You know, if they want to post up, Maryland faces them and is able to match them in size or even be bigger.
The young guys getting it done for Maryland. It's a story of the young and the restless, and somewhere in between there's Lehman. Back with more after this.
For fans of fadeaways and not fading away. Knicks, Mavs, tomorrow at 7:30 on ESPN.
Monday Night Football, Dolphins, Jets, 8:15 on ESPN.
Oh my gosh. You make me wanna say, oh.
At American Century Investments, we recognize the powerful connection between health and wealth. Every investment you make toward your financial goals can be an investment in yourself and the future of others. Each year, we distribute more than 40% of our profits to innovative medical research focused on the causes, treatment, and prevention of diseases like cancer. Since 2000, our support has exceeded $1 billion. It's what we call profits with a purpose.
Your heart is precious. One of many ways to support its health is new True Heart from One A Day. It's the only heart health supplement with ingredients to both help lower bad cholesterol and support healthy blood pressure, and also includes CoQ10. Try new True Heart.
ESPNU's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving.
And welcome back, everyone, to the Sprint Center. Look at downtown Kansas City and some long faces on this Iowa State bench as they trail by 7 points. It's the largest lead of the game for Maryland, but still plenty of basketball to play, and that guy has done most of the work. Bryce DeJon Jones for Iowa State. Niang hasn't been able to get on track since sitting for a lot in the first half because of 2 fouls.
A lot of ball movement, looking. They can't really post up. Got to find another way to penetrate the Maryland D.
That's his shot, and DeJon Jones came over Des Wells' back, committing the foul. That's his first.
Yeah, the backing down and trying to turn is not always going to work. And there's a lot of movement without the ball for Iowa State, but they've got to be able to continue to move the ball, find a gap to drive, find a way to put pressure on the Maryland back line. They haven't been able to do that thus yet.
Wells out top. Trimble running the show, the freshman point guard, the first McDonald's All-American that they've had since Mike Jones.
They've also got to find a way to shake that Maryland poise. These young guys are really playing under control.
Lehman tipped it loose, but out of bounds off of him. And another timeout with 15:37 to go here in Kansas City. We'll be back with more after this.
Gunderman Group
Gunnerman Group is growing.
Getting in a groove.
Growth is gratifying.
Goal is to grow.
Gotta get greater growth.
I just talked to UPS. They've got expert advice, special discounts, new technologies, like smart pickups. They'll only show up when you print a label, and it's automatic. We save time and money.
Time? Money?
Time and money.
Awesome.
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 I love logistics.
If you've ever wondered how you're going to survive another harsh winter, or stay dry from torrential rain showers, or savor the last warm rays of sun, step inside the Jeep Grand Cherokee and wonder no more. This is the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. Well-qualified lessees can lease the 2015 Grand Cherokee Laredo for $369 a month.
Your heart is precious. One of many ways to support its health is new True Heart from One A Day. It's the only heart health supplement with ingredients to both help lower bad cholesterol and support healthy blood pressure, and also includes CoQ10. Try new True Heart.
ESPN, how can I help you? John Anderson is at extension 5634. There you go. Oh, Stan, got a message for you. Production meeting, 2 o'clock.
Not working. Welcome back, everyone, and here's a look at the EA Sports Maui Invitational. Arizona beating Kansas State a little bit earlier, 72-68. And a tough number 15 San Diego State squad outlasted BYU in double OT last night. If you stayed up to watch it, it was a great game. Now they move on to face Pittsburgh tonight at 10 p.m. on ESPN. Basketball, wall to wall during this Thanksgiving season.
Well, this has been a game where Maryland's defense has really stepped up and kind of stymied an outstanding offensive team. You know, Iowa State just 3 of 13 from beyond the arc, shooting 31% overall from the field, as they have had a hard time penetrating the size of Maryland inside. The one guy who has had some success is Daniel Edozie, but he loses it right there. Right here again, you'd see Tchaikovsky step up, can't turn the corner. The big fellow really present an obstacle to the Iowa State offense.
Iowa State now 0 for 9 here in the second half. Des Wells out top off the Tchaikovsky screen. Nickens, little two-man game. Tchaikovsky got it blocked at the rim. Looking for the foul, palm skyward. Mark Turgeon trying to have his players back on the bench, but no call, out of bounds. 16 seconds on the shot clock for the Terps.
Boy, officials have some good eyes, because normally that's a call. That's a good call. He got all ball.
Wells back to Trimble.
Normally, despite all ball, they'll make a foul call, but they were right on that one.
7 on the shot clock. They got to get busy here.
See, Wells can't give the ball up. He's got to break the D down.
Got the rebound on the weak side. Skying for the rebound and the putback.
It's his night.
Largest lead of the game for the Terrapins. And that's going to be a blocking foul against Maryland. Iowa State still without a field goal in the second half.
Well, you take a look. Des Wells gave the ball up, and he shouldn't be the one breaking the defense down. But once again, that real estate I was talking about, that weak side corner of the glass. Some guys made a living owning that stuff.
You need more than 20% down to get that kind of rebound, though.
Well, it's like playing Monopoly, man. That's Park Place in basketball.
Layman irate coming out of the ball game at the call that went against him. His third personal foul. Niang with Iowa State's first field goal of the second half. And that brings the crowd alive here at the Sprint Center. A foul going to be called against Monte Morris.
Yeah, that's a good sign for Iowa State. You know, Tchaikovsky isolated on Niang. That's pretty much a mismatch. Niang and Hogue, last night against Alabama, they combined for 45 points. Tonight, they've only combined for 7, mostly in part because of Tchaikovsky's height advantage and really thwarting Hogue and Niang in foul trouble for most of the first half.
Hogue hasn't scored a point. Matt Thomas comes into the ball game for Iowa State. See if he can get hot like he did in the second half last night. Corner three good from Deon Wiley, and he told the defender about it too as he went by.
Another freshman, man. These guys playing with that poise.
That's going to be a foul against the freshman Wiley. That time a little overzealous. We didn't talk about Deon as one of the young and restless here.
Well, you know what? He had to do something. Getting it done now.
Naz Long for three. And Iowa State ice cold here in the second half.
And that's a frustration shot right there. Instead of working it, you know, trying to take the first available look, you got to put pressure on Maryland's defense. Flip side of it is Maryland in no hurry. You know, they want to run some run some offense, move the ball a little bit, get Iowa State out of position as they start to scramble.
Here's Nickens, 10 on the shot clock. Little drive and click. Oh, and a foul going to be called on Monte Morris. That's his third. As Ho comes into the ball game along with Rishad Pack.
Take a look. Foul looked like it was on Thomas, but Morris reaches. Thomas with the arm bar coming across right there, but the reach is most prominent.
They can't make contact out front with the hands. That's one of the points of emphasis this year. Niang all over Tchaikovsky.
It's going to be very important for Maryland to stay tough with the ball.
Des Wells goes right at Long, dumps it off to Tchaikovsky. And Long with a nice rebound in amongst the trees. Niang with a little show and go. Tough shot, good defense by the tall freshman Tchaikovsky again.
Excellent defense, red shirts in the paint, providing great obstacle, but Tchaikovsky got away with the reach down. A lot of times you reach that arm down, you're going to get caught with a foul, but his length allowed him to get to the ball.
Tchaikovsky chose Maryland over some pretty big-time programs, as you'd expect, including Louisville and Arizona. Attended basketball at the Canaris Academy. So many great foreign players who have played collegiately in this country. 10-point lead for Maryland. Under 13 minutes to go in the second half, and Hilton Coliseum South has been quiet as Hogue goes for his first bucket of the game. And in an instant, the crowd comes alive.
The time Hogue got a wide open look, didn't have to play down low against the 7-footer. I'm not sure that open air was a sight for sore eyes.
Nickens with a tough shot that falls.
Right back at him.
Another one of those freshmen, Jared Nickens. 6'7" from Monmouth Junction.
I mean, you talk about a growth kill playing against a team like this. Such an offensive juggernaut and doing the job defensively for the most part, although right there, Graham draws the foul.
The foul is going to be against Graham. That's his third personal foul. Morris will go to the free throw line for a pair.
Boy, the confidence level is soaring for the Maryland freshman. And right here on the foul, the move, the slide to the left.
Morris knocks down the first of a couple foul shots. Monte Morris on the Cousy watch list to start the year. Averaging about 16 points a game coming into this one. Talked about his stellar assist to turnover ratio, almost 5-to-1 last season, a new NCAA record.
And man, that you talk about concentration and focus. That's what that does. He's an excellent ball handler, good defender as well, as he's providing some problems for Pat.
Nickens, the freshman out top.
Crowd trying to get into this game, trying to get into the heads of their Iowa State team.
Tchaikovsky had it knocked away. Here's Thomas.
And got in the head of the Maryland team, too.
And Morris fouled on the play by Pack. And a chance to cut the lead to 5 as he'll go to the foul line. The Cyclones trying to rally a little bit here.
Here's the tendency of trying to do a little bit too much. Tchaikovsky trying to do more than he's capable at this point in time. Opening the door for Iowa State.
There are more reasons than ever why now is the best time to be on Verizon. 1. Verizon's the largest, most reliable 4G LTE network in the country. That's right, America, with XLTE in over 400 markets. 2. And here's something for families to get excited about. Our best pricing ever. Get 2 lines with an incredible 10 gigabytes of data to share for the low price of $110, or just $140 for a family of 4. And 3. Get a $150 credit for every line you switch. The more you switch, the more you get. Verizon.
Heartburn.
Did someone say burn? Try Alka-Seltzer Relief Chews. They work just as fast and are proven to taste better than Tums Smoothies assorted fruit.
Amazing.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Alka-Seltzer Heartburn Relief Chews. Enjoy the relief.
We begin with a story that could have major ramifications. You want a guy in your club that's got something to prove.
Every voter on that committee is going to be paying close attention.
The most comprehensive college football conversation. Mondays on ESPN.
NHL Center Ice lets you choose which games you watch every night of the season.
We are underway.
With up to 40 out-of-market games a week to choose from, you'll get more hits.
Oh, a monster hit.
More goals.
Oh, my heavens.
More saves.
What a save.
More adrenaline-pumping action from every team around the league. NHL Center Ice. The game lives where you do. Don't miss another moment of action. Call 1-800-GET-SPORTS.
At book club, they were asking me what you're doing now, Janice. Blogging. Your blog is just pictures of you in a mirror. It's called a fashion blog, Todd. Well, I've been helping people save money with Progressive's discounts. Flo, can you get Janice a job? You should have stuck to softball. I was so much better at softball than Jan is dead. Where's your wife, Todd? Vacation. Discounts like homeowners, multi-policy. I got a discount on this ham. I've got the meat sweats. It's good ham, Diane. Paperless discounts. Give it a rest, Flo. Yeah, Flo, give it a rest, Flo.
And welcome back, everyone. Maryland with a 7-point lead, 11:36 to go. Lehman, meanwhile, saddled with 3 personal fouls, but Maryland doing work still.
Yeah, the course of this game was Jake Lehman's play that's kind of exemplified what Maryland's done. Right then, Iowa State kind of muscling. Lehman stands up to the muscle and gets rewarded for it. Gets a little tough on his own and delivers a hard foul. And then offensively playing with a great deal of confidence, shooting the jumper. And then you have a chance to look at his explosiveness. You know, Jake Lehman is a guy that Maryland sorely needs. Those 3 fouls that have put him on the bench put the Terps at a disadvantage. They're hoping to be able to hold the fort until he can get back in the ballgame.
Meanwhile, Morris knocks down the foul shot. Lehman with 10 points on 4 of 8 from the field, a couple of threes. Morris, good foul shooter, makes the first of 2.
And as I said before, this is the time that Des Wells has to emerge right now as a team leader. You know, he doesn't have to take all the shots, but he has to help Melo, Trimble, and the freshmen and some of the underclassmen. Instead, he's standing in the corner by himself. He's got to be a go-to kind of guy.
Trimble out front with 15 on the shot clock. Dodd. Nickens with a long 3. Ice! Oh, man. Wow. 10 points for the freshman Nickens. They're hitting him with the Terrapin youth movement right now.
These young fellas want to play with the grown-ups.
Here's Hogue. Hit his first field goal a moment ago. A little drive and kick knocked out of bounds by Des Wells. It'll stay Iowa State basketball.
Good active hands, but on the other end, just a terrific job right there. Just curling off of a little bit of screen handoff. Squared up, shooting a jump shot, and there's no hesitation on Nickens' part.
Had a good game a couple of games ago, and a win against Fordham at 13 points and 6 rebounds, finding his stroke again here tonight.
Good help by Dodd that time. Thomas wanted to raise up, shoot that 3. He still had his mind made up, but that was out of rhythm. Dodd spoiled that rhythm.
The lead is 8 for Maryland against number 13 Iowa State. This would be, albeit early in the season, a big win for the Terps. And good defense that time by Morris.
Yeah, Morris out of nowhere. Trimble a little nonchalant with that jump shot, and you can't do that against a guy like Morris.
Niang, yes! And the lead is 5.
And this is where you need a big like Jake Lehman if you're Maryland who was able to go out and play on the perimeter.
At what point do you think about bringing him back in, Len?
Very shortly, and simply because if you look at Iowa State and the way you matched up with them, they're playing 5 guys out. And Dodd and Tchaikovsky, if they're going to assert themselves, they've got to be able to guard guys on the perimeter as well.
Oh, Nickens, butter.
And Niang, I mean, Nickens is talking stuff. Niang is complaining. He's talking stuff. If I'm Niang, I would D him up. Forget about his talk. You got to play him.
Well, you know what? I always say, if you're afraid about getting your feelings hurt, you shouldn't be playing sports. This game is for men. And Nickens is making Niang feel some type of way right now with his jump shooting.
Yeah, Iowa State finding its way defensively. A little nonchalant by Trimble, an excellent play by Morris. And then 5 out right there. You see Niang with an open shot, and he's going to knock that down. He's that good. But on the other end, you got Nickens going to fire up, knocking it down. And then Niang's complaining about Nickens talking stuff. Come on, brother, you got to play the man.
Never understood that, Len.
It's the playground, man. You got to play.
Sports aren't for people who are sensitive, man. You can't afford to get your feelings hurt. Just go out there and ball. Can't be feeling some type of way out there.
Hey, George Niang has hurt a lot of people's feelings.
Yeah.
You know, he should know. He's on the other end of it right now.
Deshaun Jones working against Wells. Calls for the ball screen from Hogue. Couldn't turn the corner. Good defense by Dodd. Back inside to Hogue. Tough shot. And rebounded by Dodd.
And Dodd bothered him again. Although after setting the screen and rolling to the basket, that's a good play by Iowa State. Hogue just couldn't pull the trigger and put the bucket down.
Maryland leading by 8 as we pass the midway point of the second half here. Wells one-on-one, ISO'd against Deshaun Jones. Rising up, just off the mark, and a foul on the play. That's going to go against Dustin Hogue, it looks like. There was a lot of contact underneath as Dodd hit the court. It's against Hogue.
DeMonte Dodd may not have a whole lot of numbers next to his name in the box score, but he's getting the job done just by his mere presence. Hands up, good defense, presenting a huge obstacle for Hogue.
Monty Dodd has 6 points and 5 rebounds last night against Arizona State. Out front, it's Trimble.
And I like the way Trimble called for the ball.
And that's going to be a foul against Monte Morris, who might have taken one in the mouth. That's his 4th. So with 8:51 to go, your starting point guard has 4 fouls, Len, and Fred Hoiberg looking down his bench right now, calling for Thomas. So Iowa State is going to lose its best distributor as we take one more look at it.
And a solid defender as well, but Trimble, that's insult to injury right there. Not only get your 4th foul, you get popped in the chops.
Now they're going to look and see what kind of foul they're going to assess because of the elbow.
I don't know if it was an elbow. Yeah, it was. He got his arm up. I'm not sure what you can call that. I'm not sure if it was a flagrant excessive because the defender had his arm on him, but Trimble did make contact.
Our officials, Mark Whitehead, Terry Oglesby, and Rick Crawford taking a look at the monitor, trying to figure this out. It's been a rough night for the sophomore Monte Morris.
And take a look once again. Foul occurs right there with the hand on him, but Trimble flies his arm up and makes contact in the mouth of Morris. I would not be surprised if they call a flagrant 1. I would not be surprised at that, because it might have been a bit excessive, but again, the officials are going to take a look at it. And a flagrant 1 on Trimble.
Right. Flagrant 1 is excessive. Flagrant 2, excessive and unnecessary.
Correct.
Still waiting for the call. They've obviously made their minds up. Just a common foul. There's a look at the rules from the book. Flagrant 1, excessive. and or unnecessary.
Well, throwing the elbow, I mean, that's one of those things. The ball handler obviously able to protect. The officials saw nothing untoward there, and so no call being made.
8-point ball game. Iowa State, you'd think, has to start getting a few stops here. Nickens being guarded by Matt Thomas.
See, look at Maryland spreading the floor, using the high screens, forcing Iowa State to play D. Iowa State has a tendency to switch.
Wells with the pull-up, butter.
And that switch can hurt them, because when they wind up switching in a mismatch situation, they get hurt.
Des Wells looking over at our scorers table here, Letty, and winked at us as if to say, I got this. Niang inside, and Wells right there for the pinch. And in a rush, Des Wells missed the runner. Great effort chasing down the loose ball out of bounds. Whose ball is it? And it's going to be White basketball.
I'll tell you what, Niang a little disappointed. DeJon Jones not even ready for the pass. And here's the battle between Nader and Des Wells. And
that's a senior putting it all on the line there.
Absolutely.
Wow.
You need to get him involved. And Mark Turgeon doing a good job of coaching right here. Get Des Wells on the bench. You know, you got a 10-point lead. Let him get a blow, because you know you're going to need him down the stretch, as Iowa State is not going to go away.
The Cyclones, as dormant as they've been offensively until now in the second half, with that alley-oop to Abdul Nader.
Tremendous pinpoint pass by Niang. And if I'm Mark Turgeon, I'm a little upset with John Graham. You're not putting pressure on the ball. You got to get up on George Niang regardless. He's an excellent passer, but he will knock him down.
By the way, Lehman back in the ballgame for Maryland with 3 fouls.
And again, spread floor situation. It's a 1-4 now. This looks like a setup for a high screen, and Trimble trying to break down the defense.
It's been a slow night offensively for the freshman, and he walked with it. Iowa State basketball, and a chance to cut it to 6.
I'll tell you what, that was a very appropriate timeout, as you see Niang with an excellent pass.
No ball pressure, you said it, Len. Back after this.
My name is Marcus Walker. I was All-State, won a state championship, a high school All-American, and played college and pro ball. I played because I love the game. I grind to be the best. I sweat because I put in work. I'm strong because I believe. When I want to bring it before game time, I come to the house that college basketball built, the CBE. No matter your skill, take it to another level. Elevate your game right here at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center.
Gunderman Group.
Gunderman Group is growing.
Getting in a groove.
Growth is gratifying.
Goal is to grow.
Gotta get greater growth.
I just talked to UPS. They've got expert advice, special discounts, new technologies, like smart pickups. They'll only show up when you print a label, and it's automatic. We save time and money.
Time? Money?
Time and money.
Awesome.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
I love logistics.
Your heart is precious. One of many ways to support its health is new True Heart from One A Day. It's the only heart health supplement with ingredients to both help lower bad cholesterol and support healthy blood pressure, and also includes CoQ10. Try new True Heart.
Check.
Aha. No!
Energizer protects your devices from damaging leaks. Guaranteed.
ESPNU's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the College Basketball Experience. This is not a museum. You may sweat here. And Sprint.
Mark Jones back courtside with Lenny Elmore. It's an 8-point game, 7:17 to go. Number 13 Iowa State trailing right now. Maryland efforting the upset, and during that last break, we talked about our what to watch for, and Lenny, the young guys for Maryland, young, restless, and productive.
Yeah, this is a new soap opera. You got the freshman from Maryland really carrying the load right now, doing a terrific job of playing under control, playing with poise, and certainly with patience. And they are playing within themselves, playing with a great deal of confidence, and playing with each other. And then you get to the restless. You got the senior Des Wells waiting for this moment where he can come out of the slump, when he can carry his team just as he did in the last few minutes of game against Arizona State.
And interesting, Len, during the timeout, official Mark Whitehead came over to our table and explained that Melo Trimble, in going by Monte Morris on that foul call on Morris, he gave him the benefit of the doubt that it was a basketball play, so to speak.
Yeah, he was trying to clear the defender, as Mark said. And bottom line is, you appreciate the officials with discretion.
And Trimble with the strip and the rip. 3-on-2 for Maryland. The floater, got it. The precocious freshman doing it again.
Combined 27 points among the freshmen right now. They are getting the job done against a veteran team. Iowa State averages 86 points per game. They're not getting close to that today.
Quick trigger by Long, off the mark. And the Cyclones in trouble right now, undefeated at 3-0 coming into the game tonight.
Well, I mean, this is an explosive team, Iowa State, so I would not count them out just yet. 6:28 to go.
Morris and Ho getting set to come back into the ball game, Len, as Graham hands it off to Wells. This is Des Wells' time. This is where he dominated the game last night for Maryland in the comeback win. The floater, no good, rebounded by Dejon Jones.
Tchaikovsky's got to get back quicker than that.
Boy, Dejon Jones, determined, put his head down and got to the bucket, and now the free throw line.
We've seen that in the first game too, and Alabama not getting back against the push of Arizona State. But look how slowly the Maryland redshirts have gotten back into the paint. You can't let Dejon Jones blow by you.
Yep. Voted the preseason Big 12 newcomer of the year, the UNLV transfer. Maybe the best athlete they've ever had at Iowa State. Makes the first. Saturday on ESPNU, Big Ten newcomers look to bolster their bowl game resumes. Rennie Edsall's Temper Terps take on the Scarlet Knights. Then the Blue Devils look for a victory to make program history with consecutive 9-win seasons as they face the Demon Deacons. Rutgers, Maryland at 3:30, then Wake Forest Duke Saturday on ESPNU as Dejon Jones knocks down both to make it an 8-point game. They're hanging around.
And that's what I said. I mean, they may be having difficulty right now, but by no means is Iowa State out of this ball game. They've got the ability to create some turnovers, get some transition points. You know, Maryland, you would think that some of their guys, the freshmen particularly, at some point might lose some poise. It'd leave an opening.
Trimble over to Lehman. Lehman's been quiet here in the second half since having to sit down with his third foul. 7 on the shot clock. Des Wells rising up. Had a decent look at it. And a chance now to make it a 6-point game.
He's had a couple of them. They're trying to ride him now, putting that saddle on. He's got to deliver.
Morris missed from point-blank range.
And that helps right there with Wells with the strong rebound.
Morris got right into the teeth of the defense.
Well, now that Maryland's established Wells as the go-to guy, he's got to be a decoy right now.
Well, that's his spot right there, Len.
Force the defenses to kind of load up on him and then find an open guy.
Boy, he's getting some pretty good looks, but just unable to connect. And that's going to be a foul against Hogue.
And he's gone.
That's his third.
Can't leave him in there if I'm Fred Hoiberg.
But I tell you, Tchaikovsky might have sold that a little bit. There was a little contact.
Yeah, there's contact, but
I don't know about the triple spin.
You need him. He's important. I would take him out and give him a chance to get a little bit of perspective and put him back in. I know that he's a senior.
Lehman with the spin and step through. Fouled by Dejon Jones.
Now here's what I don't like. You're a veteran team, Iowa State. Yeah, you may quibble with the calls, but you can't lose your composure. And that's what's happening right now. Watch the reaction on the call. That was arm. That was not ball. But the reaction of not only him, but his teammates. Come on, guys, keep your head in the game. You got fans all around you. This is like a home game. You can't lose your focus.
Lehman at the foul line. Knocks down the first of two. A 64% free throw shooter.
They're too good.
And this is a normally high-scoring Iowa State team that Averages well into the 80s, but they're just 4 of 20 from the field in the second half.
You know, that's one of the reasons I talked about Hogue with his response.
Niang missing from point-blank range. And that's going to be a travel against Pack. As Mark Turgeon yells at him, says, squeeze the ball, hold it.
That's right. Grab possession first. Trying to do too much. I don't know if that was a carry, but he deserved to have it turned over anyway. As long as he didn't put that ball back on the floor, that wasn't necessarily a carry.
Thomas, always confident, fouled. That was a long 2, I want to say, by Nickens.
I see that's freshman mistake, but committed by so many upperclassmen as well, fouling the jump shooter. And it's little things like that that inch the door open.
Matt Thomas at the foul line played his first game of the season last night after serving a 2-game suspension for violation of unspecified team rules. This is the first of 2. Pretty good shooter who, back as a high schooler, used to work out with former Cyclone Scott Christopherson. Connected to the program even as a junior in high school and knocks down the second foul shot to make it a 9-point game. 4.5 minutes to go. Maryland stepping up in competition level tonight against Iowa State, and the young fellas responding in a big way.
See, no shot blocker out there for Iowa State, so Maryland takes full advantage.
Bad pass by Niang, almost picked off.
No fear in getting into the paint because there's no one there to deter him. Look how late the defense comes. DeJon Jones not even close.
And Hogue didn't want to get his 4th foul as Trimble comes out.
A little shaken up. You saw him grab his knee there. It's a good time for him to get a breather and gain some perspective.
Here's Monte Morris, turns the corner to the bucket. A little bit of contact, no call. And Maryland thwarting another Iowa State move at the hoop.
And it's not going to show up in the box score, but Tchaikovsky changed another shot. And as we mentioned before, that length has really been a bane to Cyclones.
Back out top. 12 on the shot clock for Nickens. Floater in the lane, good. Nickens feeling really nice right now. Getting his Terp swag on in a huge way.
And you wonder, where's the defense if you're Iowa State? Once again, no deterrence. No obstacle to that bucket. Take a look at the drive right here. Look how deep Nickens gets into the paint. No help. Niang doesn't step up.
Tell you what, Nickens.
Everybody's backing away and watching. You can't. That's not defense.
Part of a highly rated recruiting class of freshmen for Maryland. Hey, a couple of great games today in the EA Sports Maui Invitational. Arizona, number 3 in the country, defeating a feisty Kansas State team. So they'll move on, and they'll play the winner of either Pittsburgh or San Diego State, who had that double OT win last night against BYU. Plenty of basketball to be played here, and things looking really tough right now for Iowa State, Len.
And going forward, looking in the future, I mean, you've got to be able to, if you're Iowa State, you're going to have to start working on your defense. They gave up 82 points to Oakland. They had a better defensive game than Georgia State, allowed 58, but 74 to Alabama. And now with Maryland, Maryland's on pace to score at least 70 or more points.
And the freshman, Len, as the graphic shows, almost half of their points. Youth being served tonight with 3:21 to go here in Kansas City. Back after this.
Oh my gosh. You make me wanna say, oh.
What global investment manager distributes more than 40% of its profits to fight diseases like cancer? American Century Investments. Profits with a purpose. Visit americancentury.com/purpose to learn more.
Your heart is precious. One of many ways to support its health is new True Heart from One A Day. It's the only heart health supplement with ingredients to both help lower bad cholesterol and support healthy blood pressure, and also includes CoQ10. Try new True Heart.
The way we see it, after a heavy snowfall, you have two options. You can stay inside or get behind the wheel of the Jeep Grand Cherokee with an available best-in-class 4x4 traction management system to maximize control, giving you confidence in all weather conditions. This is the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. Well-qualified lessees can lease the 2015 Grand Cherokee Laredo for $369 a month.
Welcome back, everyone. Iowa State facing a big hole right now. Maryland with a 13-point lead with 3:21 to go, and we flash back to 2002, the national title game. IU against Maryland. Gary Williams, Hall of Fame inductee, a moment ago, actually a couple of days ago, had Juan Dixon doing work for the Terps. Their first national championship in school history, as the senior Dixon was named the tournament MVP. They won it 64-52, and Juan Dixon now an assistant on that staff.
Special assistant to Mark Turgeon. Obviously has the experience and the feel. We talked to Gary Williams about Juan, and he said Juan was a leader in the locker room as well.
Lenny, moving forward, what do you make of the prospects for this team going into Big Ten play this year?
Well, I mean, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. They're playing an excellent game right now, and what it's going to come down to is sustaining.
Oh, yeah! Oh! Hogue missing underneath. Been a struggle for him tonight.
Remember, these are freshmen right now. They may want to take a look at that one, too. But these are freshmen right now, so you don't know how consistent they're going to be.
Right.
Yeah, that was just a play on the ball.
Yeah, I think Trimble might have sold it
a little bit more. But this is what I meant by Hogue. It was important. I thought that he should have come out a little bit earlier after that last foul, because he's so important as an offensive player underneath. But going back to your question, you know, this is going to be all about how these freshmen, how consistent they can be going forward. Right. I mean, this is a terrific building block for them, regardless of the outcome. Right now, it looks pretty good. But if these guys continue to play with the poise, play with the effort with which they're playing, and you combine that with the skill and the effort of the upperclassmen, you know, Maryland's serving notice that, you know, they're not just going to be satisfied with being in the middle of the pack in the Big Ten.
Pretty competitive league, but coming from the ACC, they're used to it. Naz Long knocks down a long three.
Well, you talk about effortless. Long has got that touch and got that range, comes right off the screen and squares up.
Here's Lehman. Tough drive, and they'll kick it back out to Des Wells. Run a little clock with 15 to go on the shot clock. Trimble up front.
And again, Trimble with that judgment. He had an opportunity to take a shot, but time and score, recognized they had plenty of time to work something better.
Des put it on spin cycle and missed off glass.
Lost his balance on that. And, you know, Des Wells has got to pull it together now.
Long with the drive, gets it to fall. And they're still gunning at him. Down by just 10, 2:14 to go.
A little pressure right here. And attempted putting some pressure. Good ball handling by Maryland.
Whoa! Foul before the shot. As Lehman with a little punctuation mark.
Yeah, basketball in layman's terms. Taking it to the hole with emphasis.
Very athletic. You mentioned it. They'll go to the foul line, shooting the bonus 1-1. 2 minutes to go, 10-point game.
You got to be able to knock down those shots. Those are critical. You get an opportunity for free ones. And then freshmen with hands on.
They stop the clock and a chance to get two more on the board as they'll go to the foul line.
And it's critical that all five of those guys on the floor from Maryland right now take that one eye off the clock and just focus both on the floor, because you know the Cyclones are. You know, they're going to apply pressure. They're going to look to try to wrest the ball away one more time. And we talked about it. Des Wells misses, and then the push up the floor. You know, no defense whatsoever. Tchaikovsky much too high. He's got to position himself right there in front of the rim if that's where he's going to play. Here's the full court pressure.
They break it. Wells up court. Wells, I'm not sure about that decision.
I don't know what he was doing on that one.
8-point game. For three, it's Morris. Boy, that would have given him a great chance.
Look at the
Tchaikovsky with the rebound. Wells, great pass to a leaking out Layman. And he's fouled by DeJon Jones, and that's going to be flagrant.
Wow. You got to know better.
DeJon Jones
you got to know better.
Morris had a great chance there, too.
That's 2 shots and the ball for Maryland. Good save by Wells. I'm really surprised Layman went to the basket, too, instead of flattening out. But you got to know better. Make a play on the ball. Wait till he goes up.
Well, he made it easy for the officials.
Exactly. Exactly. That looked like retributive, if nothing else. Come on.
And Layman knocks down the free throw. They'll retain possession. Intentional foul.
Boy, that's a huge setback.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, you had a feeling that Iowa State was making their move, and you talk about momentum killer.
On the intentional foul, they got possession here.
Even if Layman makes the 2 on the layup, you get the ball back. You don't give Maryland possession, you got another chance to score. Now Maryland can work all 30 seconds off this clock, should they choose.
Back to Des Wells. Maryland with possession and leading by 10. Wells draws the foul from DeJon Jones. Actually, they're going to call that against Wells. Wow. With the push-off. Okay. And Wells with a quizzical, puzzled look on his face.
Let's take a look right here. Oh, man. It's going both ways in this game. Yeah, he did use that left arm.
Timeout, Maryland. Well, of course, Maryland moving into a new conference this year, playing in the Big Ten. And let's look at the landscape now. And what do you make of, from a scheduling standpoint, it's a little different.
Yeah, I mean, it creates some obstacles from a travel standpoint. No more bus ride to Charlottesville, come back in 2 hours.
How's Nebraska this time of year?
Or an hour plane ride from Tobacco Road back to Maryland. You know, you got Nebraska, Minnesota, you know, the far reaches of the Big Ten. It's not going to be easy. And even going to Ann Arbor or East Lansing, you know, Chicago, I mean, those are 2-hour flights at least.
Although I'm told Maryland's got a nice charter.
Yeah, I wouldn't know anything about that. Back in the day, man.
You were in horse and buggy. You were just straight commercial, right?
Single prop. It looked like we were paratroopers.
That's a foul as Thomas will go to the free throw line. That's against Layman. That's the 4th foul on Jake Layman.
You can't afford to foul, stop the clock, and allow Iowa State to put points on the board. I mean, fundamental basketball. And the thing that's surprising, and that's being these sins are being perpetrated by upperclassmen.
Thomas makes the first. And Thomas, the sophomore, had a good freshman year. Tailed off a little bit at the end of last season, but last night in his first game of the year played well. As Morris comes out, Edozie, who had a career-high 8 in the first half, back in.
And Fred Hoiberg with the substitutions, able to stop the clock, get his zone defense, his pressure set up.
Almost got the trap as Wells almost turns it over, and he does. It's an 8-point game. Edozie to the bucket, and that's going to be a blocking foul, so the clock stops. And they can cut it down to 6 with 43.3 to go.
And what did I tell you? Once again, upperclassmen. This time the senior, Des Wells, commits the error. You know, the freshmen have carried them, and it seems like the upperclassmen are about to give it away.
Dozie goes to the foul line. He's off.
That's a big miss, but
Daniel Dozie out of Compton, not a score.
It'll still be a 3-possession game.
Makes the second. Lead is 7. This time they take care of the pressure. And Lehman fouled by Niang.
And that's what they have to understand. And you can't be fearful of handling the ball. Iowa State's got to come to you. They're going to foul you. All you got to do is just be ready to knock them down on the free throw line.
Lenny, Iowa State never really seemed to get in a good offensive rhythm, going right back to the time that Niang had the 2 fouls in the first half, and then they start off the second half ice cold, missing the first 9 shots.
Well, like I said, I think you give a lot of credit to the Maryland defense. You know, did a good job in man-to-man situation. The bigs more than anyone. Both Dodd and Tchaikovsky guarding that rim, forcing the lower percentage shots.
And speaking of lower percentage shots, Iowa State, Fred Hoiberg's team, just 30.5% from the field tonight. Very uncharacteristic for them.
You got to get in front of the ball handler.
DeJon Jones took it baseline to baseline, and it's just a 2-possession game with 32.7 to go.
Bottom line is, and I'm not sure what's being taught out here in high school or whatever, you got a guy going coast to coast. Get in front, flatten him out, make him go laterally, make him go towards one of your teammates. Everybody's chasing. Look at this, comes right at you. Nobody in front of him until Tchaikovsky, and then it's too late. He's right under the basket. DeJon Jones just steps right by him. But from beginning end line all the way down, not one guy stepped in front of DeJon Jones, which is amazing. They were talking about fundamental basketball, and no one executing it.
32.7 to go, and I'm guessing we're going to see a little full court pressure from Iowa State again. They got Des Wells to turn it over last time. Yeah, worked last time out. We'll see who gets to handle it from Maryland, or who Turgeon wants to handle it. It's Wells again. This time the senior gets it over midcourt.
He's lucky.
Yeah, they were coming up behind him and closing fast before the foul.
He's lucky and a bit smart in that once he's got on that baseline, he stepped towards the middle. Right here, Dozie about to knock it away, and he changes hands, and that's when Thomas fouls him.
There's Wells at the foul line. Wells 2 for 2 from the stripe, and still just a 2-possession game. Morris back in, Dozie out.
Now look, Des Wells, tremendously gifted athlete. He's been an outstanding player for Maryland, but he's going to have to execute better in crunch time for Maryland to really have a lot of faith in him going down the stretch as the game goes on. And it's mental. He's got the tools. He's got the talent.
7-point game. Bryce DeJon Jones.
Much better D that time. Didn't allow the penetration full through.
Long for 3. Tried to draw the foul on Pack. They get the rebound. Morris missing from deep. Niang fires another 3.
And look at the length of Tchaikovsky bothers Niang on that one.
And an appropriate ending for the night for Maryland. They force several misses from downtown from the Cyclones, who have misfired constantly. 6 of 26 from downtown on 3s. And the Terps poised and ready to take home the CBE Hall of Fame Classic Championship.
Give Mark Turgeon a lot of credit. That starting lineup, as you said, the bigger lineup, certainly bothered Iowa State. And then when he had Dodd and had Tchaikovsky in at the same time, particularly in the first half, allowed Maryland to build that lead, take away the easy shots for Iowa State.
Pack makes both free throws.
And the
lead
Terps,
is behind. Yep.
Terps have made a statement against number 13 Iowa State, a team that a lot of people looked at as being one of the front runners in the Big 12.
So Mark Turgeon and Maryland storm into Hilton Coliseum South here in Kansas City and run away with the trophy. Maryland improving to 5-0 on the season, holding Iowa State to just 63 points. And it was a night where the young guys, the highly touted freshman class, the top 10 ranked class of Trimble, Nickens, Wiley, contributing big time. Oh yeah, and don't forget Trimble. Wiley from the corner and talking about it too. Nickens hit a little chord, as did Trimble. 72-63 the final. Coming up next, College Football Playoff Top 25 show. For Len Elmore, I'm Mark Jones. Good night from Kansas City.
Information, examination, calculation, deliberation, declaration. That's the mission. The decisive dozen, the Power 12.
The first ever college football playoff rankings will be released.
From a process, through a season, to a playoff. Each week, evaluated, graded, rated, ranked, and then proclaim. A ranking, a list, a bracket. 4 for now. Are you in?
College Football Playoff Top 25 is presented by Chick-fil-A.
After the rankings, which you will see in a matter of moments, this edition, only 2 more will be unveiled. The last one will be the decisive one, the 4 teams that will make the college football playoff. This week, only 11 of the 12 committee members voting. Mike Tranghese, one of the committee members, under the weather, unable to fly, didn't make it to Dallas. If you're not present in the room, you don't vote. Tranghese will be back next week, and in a matter of moments, we'll see what the group of 11 for this week have decided with the College Football Playoff Selection Committee rankings. Glad to have you with us, Reese Davis, Danny Cannell, and Joey Galloway. Danny, what are you most curious to see?
UCLA. How impressed was the committee? Enough to leapfrog any of those one-loss teams in front of them?
I don't think there's much movement at the top, but I think Nebraska's interesting here because it will affect TCU and Ohio State depending upon how high Nebraska moves after an impressive weekend.
Yeah, Nebraska falling to Minnesota last week. Minnesota's been a quality win for TCU, so a quick primer on how this unfolds now. Some playoff notes. 12-person selection committee, 11 of them voting this week. Top 4 at the end of the season, seeded in the semifinals this year. That's the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl. The criteria emphasizes conference championships, yet to be determined. Strength of schedule still being determined, and head-to-head results, some important ones, could be coming up in the next couple of weeks, so there wasn't a lot of movement at the top over this past weekend. So let's unveil them. We haven't seen them yet. Now you're seeing them. The college football playoff rankings, and there is a team, 2 of them, from the group of 5. Boise State is 23, Marshall's 24. That is significant because of this. The highest ranked conference champion out of the group of 5 will get a spot in one of the New Year's 6 bowls. So we continue with the college football playoff rankings brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Ole Miss, after getting housed by Arkansas,